Welcome back to the PPR channel. It is Thursday night, and we are coming live at you with Southern Discomfort. So I would like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We are streaming live on the PPR channel, on Facebook, and on Twitter, and on the Yo Baby channel. And I am just making sure things are set up, good to go on Facebook. And I believe, yep, we are streaming. We are all set up. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. I know it's not our usual night, but I had some stuff come up Tuesday so that I was not able to stream. I had it ready, but was just not able to get to it. Hey PW, hey Dustin, welcome to the chat. Glad y'all are hanging out with us this evening. So I hope everybody has had a good week so far. I know I have, but I'm glad to be back here with y'all. We have a very interesting subject matter for tonight. It's one that I have been telling y'all about, that I have been planning for. But tonight's subject is on religion gone bad, and about a horrible exorcism that happened back in Australia in 1993 with a lady by the name of Joan Vollmer. So that is going to be our subject matter for tonight. Bethany is supposed to be joining me at some point here in the evening, so she will be up here with me as we talk and get ready for all the, I don't even know. You'll hear, you'll understand just how messed up this whole situation is with Joan Vollmer once we actually get into everything that went on surrounding the subject of her and what happened. And I used the word cult to describe this little religious sect that performed this exorcism, because as we will see, some of the stuff going on is not normal for Christian theology or Christian teaching. So that would, in essence, define this movement or whatever, these people as a cult. So that's why I personally use this word to refer to what was going on here. Hey, Susanna, thank you for joining us in the chat. Just as a way of reminder, every 7th of the month, I also release a short story on Godless in ebook format called Southern Discomfort. And this month's story for July is called Cult of the Mother God. And this is the cover, and it goes along well with what we were actually talking about tonight with this cult, not as far as the subject matter goes, but just that we are talking about cults, for instance. In this particular story, Alicia King, the leader known as Mother God, is live streaming her ascension to the first dimension, the 5th dimension, just like we're live streaming here. She was wanting to record everything for her followers so that they can all participate in this divine moment. But things do not go as expected or as planned, and they take a very dark and morbid turn. So if you want to grab this, you can get it for only 99 cents on Godless. Again, that is in ebook format. All the Southern Discomfort series is ebooks there. So that is the one for July. Hey, Slim, welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining us here tonight. So, see if I missed anybody. Okay, I think I've said hello to everybody. Now, just so you know, when Bethany comes on here, Dustin, I do have some good dad jokes planned for her, and I didn't tell her that I was going to tell any jokes. So this is going to be a surprise for her. So for those of you who remembered, a couple weeks ago, we played a game on the show, me and Bethany, and of course Bethany was the contestant, and the game was guess what Zeke bought. And she didn't win the grand prize, but she won a consolation prize. And so, tonight is that consolation prize of dad jokes, because Dustin, I mean, you know how much she really loves dad jokes. I mean, she just adores them. She thinks they're hilarious. So when she gets on, if anybody has a dad joke to tell her or put there in the chat, be sure to do that. It will make her night, for y'all to be able to come and do that. The other thing, oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Okay, Dustin, are you still in chat? I got to tell you something I found out. We have some viewers that I did not know about that came to my attention this past week. Yes, PW, I am torturing her, but I wanted to share this with everybody. Like, not only do we have people watching on Facebook and everybody in the chat and stuff like that, but Dustin, I found out this past week that I have stalkers. I have stalkers that watch the show, that watch me on social media. They screenshot pictures of me on the live stream. So everybody in chat, y'all say hello to my stalkers. So I'm saying hello, stalkers, and I'm thanking them for joining in, because Dustin, they actually help with the numbers, and they help they give us views on YouTube and Facebook and everything. So I would feel like if I weren't thanking them, that I wouldn't be being kind, because they are contributing to the numbers. So, I just wanted to give a shout out to not only everybody in chat, but also my stalkers. Yes, PW, I do. And being the kind person that I am, because since these people I know they don't have time to look this up on their own because they're so obsessed with my life. So I wanted to put this up for them. This is the mental health hotline. If you call that number, you could actually maybe get somebody to help you instead of spending all your time stalking me. And here's another one too, the mentalhealthhotline.org. So those are some resources for you. And being the kind person that I am, I just wanted to share that for all my stalkers out there. So anyway, David, thank you for joining us in the chat. I appreciate it. Glad that you are here with us and hanging out with us tonight. So without further ado, we are going to go ahead and get into tonight's subject matter, which has to do with Joan Vollmer and a botched exorcism that happened in Australia. Dustin. Yeah, part of the stalker crew that I have going on. So I wanted to read you before we get into some of the details about this particular exorcism case. I wanted to read you the news article that was released in Australia for the Desert News. And this was released on February 3rd, 1993 by the Associated Press. It says, a woman died of internal injuries after her husband and other members of a fundamental Christian sect held a 4-day rite to rid her body of demons, police said Wednesday. The fatal exorcism of Joan Vollmer, 49, ended in her home in the small town of Antwerp, about 180 miles northwest of Melbourne, on Saturday night. Although detectives said her death was not reported until Monday. The woman's husband, Ralph Vollmer, and 3 other sect members who took part in the ritual are being questioned, police said. No charges have been filed. Vollmer told Australian Associated Press that his wife had been possessed by 2 strong male evil spirits. He goes on to say, when they finally released the hold on her, she was hissing and frothing, and they came out with a groan. He said her injuries could have been caused by demons. Later, he told a television station that he and other sect members had held his wife down during much of the ordeal. Vollmer said his wife had been involved with the occult since the age of 3. He said she had acted abnormally in recent weeks and had developed multiple personalities, including that of a prostitute and of a sheep shearer. There were manifestations of different people and animals, Vollmer was quoted as telling the Australian press. Her funeral will be held this Friday. So this was the report that was released not too long after it happened. And what we're going to find out and what came out later is the details surrounding this exorcism are just plain sickening. Let me tell you a little bit first, though. Like this house, okay? Let me show you the house. I have a picture of the house. 1 second here. All right. This is the Vollmer home. Now, this house, after all of this happened, all right, and you know how people are, this became like the urban legend place of Antwerp. And it's reported that, kids would go out there to scare each other. They would do seances to try and conjure the ghost of Joan Vollmer, but nothing ever happened like that. The house sat for a while, and then it was eventually sold. I'm not too sure what the state of it is at this point, but do know that anytime something like that happens at a home, you can guarantee that there are going to be people to do stuff like that. And apparently it was kind of the urban legend of the town, and all the kids would go there. But let's go back now and look at some of the details surrounding this case. And for those of you who saw the thumbnail, all right, this is Joan. That is her. She was 49 when she died, and Ralph, the husband, was around 53 when this happened. And they were simple people. Ralph was a pig farmer, and he ended up getting involved in a really charismatic church. And a little bit about the history of the town. Let me find it in my notes here. I wanted to share with you a little bit about this town and how it was settled. Just bear with me. I thought I had it right up here. Anyway, a little bit about the town. It was settled by Protestant missionaries, and back in the late 1800s, and it was always very, very tiny. And in the 70s and 80s, the town really, really started to decline. And by the time this all happened in 1993, the population was dwindling next to nothing. And you had this charismatic church out there. And for those of you who don't know much about the charismatic version of Christianity, the charismatic expression. They believe in the manifestation of all of the spiritual gifts, such as healing, tongues, miracles. And the problem with that is that though these gifts are real, and though I personally believe that they are operative today, although I wouldn't consider myself charismatic because of all of the other stuff that comes with it this day and age. A lot of the charismatic movement is at that time and in that place, that particular church was really surrounded by a bunch of extremism, calling everything a demon, which is the case with this church. They had a history, and some of the members had a history there of being very excessive in their diagnosis of what is a demon, what is demon possession. And they took it, as we're going to find, to the extreme in a lot of ways. Now, before we get into transitioning and talking about some of the people involved, I'm going to get back here and chat and see if I missed anybody who jumped in with us. Hey, Ozark. Welcome. David, I see your question, occultism inside of Christianity. Joan was not a Christian. She was very reluctant to go to church with Ralph, but he would drag her along. Ralph said that she had a history of occult practices, but again, you have to think of the extremism. Was she ever really involved in some sort of occult practices? Nothing that I read ever came out and said that. So I am not sure. That we're just going by what Ralph said. So that's all I can go. But now what we do know about Joan is that what concerned Ralph and what made him think she was demon possessed is she would go around and she would like make all of these animal noises and pig noises. She would throw all of her clothes off and wander in the field and get very sexual, very aggressive. And in his words, talking about how she acted like a prostitute. So she was exemplifying signs of schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder. And so what Ralph ended up doing is he ended up taking her inside and tying her to a bed and trying to cast the demons out of her. He had locked her. After that didn't work, he locked her in the basement and started to deprive her of food and water, still trying to cast the demons out. And none of that worked. Now, Ralph did get her some psychiatric treatment, and it started to help. They got her on medication and things like that. And she was actually in a place for a couple of weeks and getting on medication and working with doctors. And then Ralph pulled her out, convinced that it wasn't doing any good. So he ended up getting her off of the medication. And when she got off of the medication, she started to show these signs again. Now, this day and age, when we start to see somebody act in that manner, right, our first inclination is that there's something psychologically wrong with the person. But Ralph automatically jumped to demon possession. And he's not the only one. All right, we're going to get into what went down in this horrible, horrible exorcism. So we have Joan, the smiling, charming woman. She begins to change, and what began to come out of her and to be manifested in her really scared Ralph. And he was concerned about his wife. He did love her, but in his mind, what he was seeing was demon possession. Now, it also needs to be noted that Joan did have some psychological issues when she was on her second marriage with Ralph. Her first husband committed suicide, and she was sexually abused a lot as a child growing up. So there was some deep hurt and pain and trauma in her life. In Ralph's eyes, right, the way to treat this trauma and to treat all these symptoms were to cast the demons out of her. So Ralph began by tying her to the bed and taking her to the basement. And Joan was scared. She was hysterical, and she tried to escape. And when Ralph had her tied up, she was screeching so loudly at what was going on and begging to be free that Ralph couldn't sleep. So finally, he did the only thing he could think to get his wife help is he needed some assistance with this exorcism, because the demons, he wasn't strong enough to get the demons out of her. So he ends up calling his neighbor, John Reichenbach, who was the leader of this local Christian cult that he was involved with. So Reichenbach comes over with his wife, Leanne, and they're coming as quickly as possible because Ralph calls him and he's like, hey, I think Joan is demon possessed. I've tied her up. These demons aren't coming out of her. So what do you think? So they come in, and when they saw her, they instantly agreed with Ralph that she was possessed by a number of demons. And they sat there and watched her and observed the different personalities and traits that were coming out of her. And they decided the number was 10. They needed more help with this many demons. So Reichenbach, he ends up calling for a lady by the name of, make sure I say this right, Leah Clugston. She was also a leader in their church. And Leah she had started her own church because she was expelled from the Lutheran denomination for excessive diagnosis of possession. So are we surprised that she would agree that this is demon possession? No, we are not, because she had been forced out of a denomination for excessive diagnosis of demon possession. So Reichenbach, the church leader, he read aloud a few passages from the Bible to Joan, who is struggling because she is being malnourished and mistreated. And he does this for a while, and then he decides he's got some more pressing matters to attend to. So he leaves. And then Ralph and Leanne are there to watch over Joan. And as soon as John Reichenbach leaves, Ralph and Leanne, they really set to work. They tie Joan down, and they decide to totally deprive her of all food and water whatsoever. So not just rations and a little bit, Ralph was always already depriving her. They said absolutely no food and water. And so while Joan is moaning and complaining of thirst, they're thinking that these are the demons manifesting themselves. And so they start praying louder every time that she continues to beg for them to be let go, for them to free her, for them to give her some food and some water. So this deprivation goes on for days. Now, Ralph and Leanne. Now, if you think any normal person in their right mind, right? If you see somebody in this situation, right? Our normal psychological response would be to help this person, to free them, to give them food and water. But Ralph and Leanne, because they saw Joan struggling so much and becoming malnourished and screaming more and more and more, this encouraged them on because they thought it was working. They're thinking, oh, she's fighting the demons. Look how hard she is fighting the demons. So for them, this was clear proof that what they were doing in this exorcism was working. So they went on and on and on, and in their minds, but these demons, they just keep fighting and fighting, and they're screeching and struggling. And Ralph and Leanne, after a couple of days, decided, okay, these demons still aren't coming out. So we need to get some more help in here. So enter a man by the name of David Klingner, who was another member of this church. The demons were fighting, and they had, so much more strength than what they had initially anticipated. So David was going to come and provide some more prayer, another set of hands, another person to read scripture. So in comes David, and they have their minds set. All right, like, we got David here. This is it. These demons are coming out of Joan, and they're ignoring her pleas for mercy. They strap her down harder. They tie her up tighter, and they're praying and screaming to God and reading scripture over her. And this is still going on. So days without nourishment, days without food, days without water. And all of this is taking its toll on Joan. So you can imagine the physical toll this is taking on her, but also the psychological toll that it is having on her mind. So, if the screaming and yelling isn't working, what do you do next? Well, you start hitting the person. And that's exactly what they do. They start slapping her, because she is losing strength. So they start to beat her. They slap her in the face whenever she seemed to be falling into unconsciousness. And as you would think, they were flabbergasted, but they were like, well, the hitting is having no effect on the demons. They are still in her, and they're not coming out. And so Joan again begins to plead and sob and beg them with her life, please let me go. Please give me some food. Please give me some water. So Ralph, seeing all of this happening with his wife and seeing her in this condition, what would any normal person do if they realized they were wrong, right? They snap, oh my God, get her out of there. No, not Ralph. Ralph knew when he saw all this, this is no longer my wife. This is no longer Joan. The demons have complete control over her. And so he felt no remorse for all the treatment that she was going through. The beatings, the malnourishment, no, because she was possessed by demons, and they were doing this to the demons, not to Joan. So he continued to encourage this type of treatment. Now, they had brought Klingner in, and it didn't help. So their last line of defense, you're going to love this, all right? They go get the expertise of a 23-year-old self-proclaimed prophet and exorcist by the name of Matthew Nuske. Now, you would think somebody who was this self-proclaimed exorcist and thought this highly of himself, that he would have all of this training and all of these theological degrees. No, he was just a golf caddy at a golf course, but he was the expert, right? So they call him in, and this is when things, I mean, they're bad enough, but this is when it really starts to take a nosedive when Nuske comes in. I mean, he called himself 23 years old, a veteran of exorcism. How can you be a veteran at anything when you're only 23 years old? So, think about that for a minute. So Nutsky comes strolling in, and it only takes this young guy seconds to size up the situation. Oh boy. All right. So he is into this, right? Yes, Joan is demon possessed. All of this isn't working. So he starts to get revelation from God. And here is what God tells him to do. Y'all are going to love this. So if this wasn't so outlandish, I wouldn't be laughing. You're going to see why. I'm not making light of what went on, but this is absolutely so insane. It is almost comical that somebody could think that God actually told them to do this, and this was the way to do an exorcism. But they listened to him because he is the veteran. So he sends other people into town because they need some supplies to finish this exorcism. And he sent them to get some like saran wrap paper and some olive oil. And so when they return, what they do is they bless the oil. Okay, nothing wrong with that. All right, we're good so far. They bless the oil, and they just start dousing themselves in the blessed oil. And then he takes this saran wrap paper, and he wraps the house. Want to guess how many times? We've been studying Revelation, right? What is the ultimate biblical number, right? 7. So just like his words were, just like Joshua marched around the Jericho walls for 7 days, we got to wrap this house 7 times in this saran wrap. And he wraps the house, and he seals all of the doors, all of the windows. Like, he's getting it good. You got to get it 7 times because God told him 7 times. And the saran wrap, okay, was to prevent any other demons from coming in. Now, how does saran wrap keep a demon from coming into a place? I have no freaking clue. But in Nutsky's mind, right, this God told him to do this, so there was something spiritual about the saran wrap to keep the demons out. And then he ordered that and this is heartbreaking, okay? We're going from comical now to just freaking mean and heartbreaking. He orders that all of Joan's possessions, that they would be destroyed. All of her belongings, everything she owned. So, because there could be a demon in it. So they go through, and Ralph is allowing all of this. They go through. All right. This woman is already being beaten and malnourished. Right now, I'm going from laughing to getting angry now. All right. And then they just start destroying all of her stuff right there with her. It's just absolutely tearing everything up, breaking all of her precious possessions right there, destroyed everything this woman owned, because this idiot comes in and thinks that it's got to be destroyed because there could be a demon in it. And just so you know, it doesn't work like that. So they smash everything to pieces with a sledgehammer. Yes, a sledgehammer. They go all out. All right. They are pulverizing her stuff. Just in case any demons were hiding in it. Then they weren't done yet. Matthew had them go out and destroy all of her flower beds and the greenhouse. Because you want to know why? The demons could be camouflaging themselves and hiding in the plants. Believe that? That is certifiable. So they destroy everything that was precious to this lady. Now, can you imagine the psychological damage that does when you're already, she already clearly has something going on with schizophrenia, multiple personality disorders. She watched her husband commit suicide. She was sexually abused as a child. And now she's having all of this done to her. Like, my heart just breaks thinking about somebody being put in this type of situation and having all of this done to them in the name of Jesus. Now, I can tell you, as a Christian pastor and as somebody who has 3 different biblical theological degrees, there is nothing of Christianity and Jesus in that, and which is why I told you at the beginning that I was calling this a cult, because there's no Jesus in any of that. So they do all this, and lo and behold, it still doesn't work. She's still, quote unquote, showing signs of demonic possession. Go figure. So in the early hours of January 30th, Matthew Nuske decides that God has given him a new revelation. There's a new tactic that needs to take place. So what he does is he positions himself directly in front of Joan's face, and he starts abusing the demons, right? Not Joan, he's abusing demons. And he begins to slap her head with the full force of his hand, pummeling her, demanding the demons to identify themselves. I'm going to bring Bethany up. She just came on. Hey, baby.
Hey.
Okay. I'm in the middle of telling them we're talking about the story of Joan Vollmer. You're just in time to hear the most awful part.
I kind of figured as soon as you said she was being slapped in the head, because I'm vaguely familiar with the case.
Yeah. So Matthew Nuske begins to beat her. Now, remember, in his mind, he is beating the demons, and he's slapping her head with the full force of his hand, and he's demanding the demons to identify themselves. And Nuske, because he is such an expert on a self-proclaimed expert on demon possession, right? He identified that one of the demons is called Legion. And, when I hear that, I just kind of roll my eyes. It's just like, sure, let's steal something straight out of the Gospels, right? So that we can try to affirm ourselves that what we are doing is biblical. Because if you remember the story of the demoniac in the Gospels,
Not to interrupt, but PW has a point. Make sure to have trigger warnings for this.
trigger warnings.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
She has a point.
we talked about abuse. Yes, we are.
And before you start sharing anything else that could be a trigger warning, get the flag up.
Yep. Trigger warnings, because there is abuse talked about in this.
Didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Thank you for that, PW. So yes, so he begins to pummel her, and he begins to identify more demons in Joan. All right, there is a mother and a daughter, and I guess he couldn't come up with anything better. And I'm really disappointed in this, because somebody with the creativity to think that God told them to wrap a freaking house 7 times in saran wrap to keep the demons out couldn't come up with better demon names than this. The 2 main demons controlling her were called Princess Joan and Baby Joan, right? Very original. So to eradicate these demons, it was essential to beat them from their host. So she was tied to a chair against her will, and she was set against the fireplace. Her feet were tied to wooden stocks, and she was thrashed and beaten mercilessly. The quote-unquote devils wailing and begging for this to all stop and begging for them to have mercy. They started to kick her. They started to slam her head repeatedly into the cupboards and the walls behind her. I want you to think about this, okay? I mean, they are just sitting here thrashing this woman, beating her, slamming her head into things, trying to get demons out of her. And as she's crying, as she's weeping, as she's bleeding and begging them to stop, in their mind, no, remember, Joan is not there. This is the demons, and they are faking sympathy because they don't want to be cast out. So that's what is told. Don't give in. Don't quit. These are the demons trying to trick you and beg for sympathy. You know, these cult members, they were wise to the devil's ways. They weren't going to be tricked by old Beelzebub. So they just began to beat her with closed fists, trying to get the demons out. Ralph, he has a moment of clarity after seeing this, right? He's hit with a moment with what's going on, and seeing his beaten, bloodied wife at death's door, and he has to leave the room. And some of them go out to get him, and they encourage him because he's having his doubts. They tell him not to doubt. You know, you got to get back in there. This is the devil, blah, blah, blah. So he goes back in there. And Joan, when he comes back in the room, Joan is looking up at her husband, right? This was supposed to be her life partner. You know, through thick and thin, you're supposed to look after each other, protect each other, do what's best for each other. He looks at her through her tear-stained, bloodied face. Does he say, hey, let's let her go. Let's quit. Let's stop. Let's end this. This isn't right. We need to get her to a doctor. Nope. He picks up a Bible and smashes her in the face with it. After that happened, Joan just kind of collapses, right? And they're all celebrating. They're like, yeah, the demons, we think we got them out. They've exited their host. They departed in the blood. They're being bled out of her, right? Because they wouldn't let her go to the bathroom. So not only is she bleeding, but she's pissed all over herself. She's gone to the bathroom, and so they're thinking that, well, the demons are coming out through the fluid. So that's what they've conjured in their mind now, that yes, the blood, right? The blood is the connection, the bodily fluids in the connection. So they're seeing the blood come out, they're seeing the urine and feces, everything come out. And so the demons must be leaving with it. By the time noon rolls around, all right, our fearless leader, the veteran 23-year-old exorcist Matthew Nutsky, started to say that only Princess Joan and the baby Joan remained. And he said they are living, they are huddled in Joan's stomach, and they don't want to come out. So we've got to teach them a lesson. So they take Joan's battered and bruised and beaten body, dripping blood and pee, and they move her to the bedroom where she is held down by everybody while Leanne, right? Remember that's one of the leaders. She sits on her stomach and she starts to bounce hard and angrily up and down on her stomach because she's trying to shift the demons and get them to move up. Then at some point, I don't know who came up with this. I'm guessing Matthew probably did, Nutsky. They determined that the demons had moved up into her chest. So Leanne and Nutsky start taking turns just pulverizing her breast and beating her around the head and the neck. And they're trying to beat this demon all the way up out of her mouth. So as this demon is moving up, Matthew starts to just pump and pound on Joan's throat, screaming Bible verses into her face. And every time Joan closed her eyes, he would pry them open with his fingertips. So after a couple hours, the two demons were just, they're just barely hanging on. And they were on her tongue now, right? The group determined they were on her tongue, so it's almost out. The demons are almost out. So he holds her jaw open so wide, it almost dislocates. So, I mean, he's pulling. Her jaw is almost dislocated. And she is crying and screaming. And he's not going to be persuaded by these demons. He's not going to be persuaded by the gurgling sounds that are coming from her throat, because in his mind, that is the demons coming out. All goes quiet. Joan stops thrashing. She stops moaning. She's completely still. There is what they considered a supernatural hissing and groaning that rises from the depths of her body, until at last there was only silence. She died. Coroners came in and said that she died from a heart attack while they were pounding on her throat and prying her jaw open. Now, you would think that this would be the end of it. It is not. So a Baptist minister is called. I don't remember all the details of what actually happened after she dies. But I do remember that a Baptist minister is called, and he comes in and he looks at all this and he's like, what the? Oh no. So he ends up calling the police and a doctor, and they come in and they start to question what happens, and everybody in the cult tells them. But they said that she's going to rise from the dead. They can't take the body away. That God has told them that Joan, he's going to bring life back into her body. So nothing happens, right? It comes time for the funeral. And they are all at the funeral, and it was recorded that Ralph Vollmer is grinning ear to ear. He's so happy because he's convinced that Joan is going to rise from the dead, right? That the Lord is going to bring her body back to life, and she's going to be healed, and everything is going to be hunky-dory. They wait, go through the funeral, nothing happens. They go through the little eulogy, nothing happens. Close the coffin, bring it out to be buried, nothing happens. They lower it into the ground and cover it in dirt, and nothing happens. And it is that point that Ralph has an oh crap moment, and he breaks down. Now, granted, this was big news. They had media there because they had spread this, that she was going to rise from the grave. So they're recording this funeral, and Ralph ends up breaking down and crying. Now, you would like to think that the charges of manslaughter stuck. It did not. I believe you can go and find that while they were accused, some of the charges, I don't remember all what it was. Some of it didn't stick. These people pretty much walked. They did a little time, but they pretty much walked. Ralph is married again and happy and living a good life. Everybody else really got off with a little slap on the wrist. All these horrible things were done to this lady in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, and no justice was done in this situation whatsoever. They did some interviews after the fact years later, and you can actually, I think you can find, if you go on YouTube, you can find some of the news clips. But till this day, all right, Ralph Vollmer still thought his wife was demon possessed, and he is recorded as saying to the news that he blames the psychiatric center for not helping her, the one that he pulled her out of, and he tried to shift the blame and blame them. And right, you're just like, oh dude, you're an idiot, whatever. Like nobody. Yeah, PW, he did. What they did was just awful, and I'm telling y'all, I have read a lot of possession cases, a lot of horrible ones. This by far is it's got to be the worst that I've come across and read. So that is the story of what happened with Joan Vollmer and this crazy charismatic cult that thought she was demon possessed. I'm gonna go back through the chat. I know I missed a lot of what y'all were saying because I was getting so fired up and wound up talking about this. I had a one-track mind. But Bethany, do you have anything to add or say while I go back through the chat?
It just sounds like, honestly, and I've seen this before, not to this extent, but denial, just total denial of his wife's condition.
Yeah.
And denial will make people do very irrational things.
Yeah, it's sad, but you see this type of mental illness in a lot. Bethany and I, we watch a lot of cult documentaries, and you see a lot of that type of thinking, don't you, Bethany? Wouldn't you agree?
What thinking are you?
This delusional type of thinking, that you were just talking about, not accepting reality. You see a lot of that.
Well, I see a lot of it, not just in cults, but you even see it with people who have been given a diagnosis that they don't want to accept, or even parents who have children who've been given a diagnosis that they refuse to accept. And then the more that you resist the truth, the deeper the denial. So,
And what makes this whole thing sad is that I know you weren't here for the beginning, but Joan was admitted to a psychiatric hospital for help, and she was diagnosed with multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia, and she was on medication. And she was doing quite well. She was doing better. And then Ralph pulled her.
Why did he pull her? Like, what was his?
I couldn't find out why. I would imagine it would have to do with religious purposes, because he was still convinced that she was demon possessed, and that psychiatric treatment was not going to rid her. It was only going to mask the problem. So he pulled her, and she got off the medication, and she went back to displaying all of the different personalities, making the animal noises, running around naked, all of that stuff.
It's actually, it is tragic to me, because I watched a lecture from Robert Sapolsky, and he had talked about mental disorders, and he had talked about schizophrenia specifically. And the one thing that he said, in most Western cultures, and this was Australia, correct?
Yeah.
We do not treat the mentally ill well at all. And that's pretty much across the board. And yeah, I mean, off the medication, yeah. And it sounds like she was pretty extreme. And yeah, that just sounds like denial on his part. And just, it almost makes me wonder, and that's where denial can be just as terrifying, or actually even more terrifying than any mental disorder, because you have the truth right in front of you, but it's just, your denial is so deep, you don't want to see it.
Yeah. 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 And this was back in 1993. And I know mental health treatment has come a long way since then. But I mean, you can imagine. But the thing is, though, is she was showing improvement on medication in there, and then he pulls her and gets her off the medication.
I see someone in chat, David said, we've all been mind controlled to some point by the media we've seen and heard. That's true, but the difference that I do say, and I don't mean any disrespect, that's more manipulation. It doesn't, being manipulated, anybody can be manipulated. I mean, like, of course, we're being manipulated every day by commercials and whatnot. This is different. This doesn't seem like, even, I don't know, with her husband, going into a cult like that, to that denial, that extent of denial, that wouldn't that also be indicative and that he too probably has some kind of mental or emotional problems?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, David, 1993. He thought I'd said 1893. No, buddy, this is 1993. Yeah, you have to think, and I know you missed a lot of it, but the stuff that I was saying about what they did, I mean, you see people acting this way, and you have to wonder about their own mental stability and instability. And it's unfortunate, because I know a lot of people will hear this and they will try to blame religion, blame Christianity, and to say, well, this is why I hate Christianity and religion. It makes people do these type of things. And I would say that, when you look at the New Testament and you see it for what it is, you see none of that type of action. So it is not Christianity that condones and does these things, but this happens when unstable people get a hold of anything. It doesn't have to just be religion or something like that. When you have an unstable mind getting a hold of something, it is going to turn out bad no matter what it is. And it's just, yeah, you got to wonder what was wrong with these people, for sure. But if you want to watch this, they do have a movie. It is called Godless, the Eastfield Exorcism. I think it is on Tubi, and the movie is well done, and it's very good. So it's based on the story. Like I don't think the characters don't have the same names. They've changed the names of everybody, and I think they've placed it, in more modern times than 1993. But it is the same story. They show what happened, and it's done very, very well. So yes, PW, Tubi is free, so you can go watch that movie there tonight if you want to. But I don't want to leave us on a heavy, sad note tonight. Do you, Bethany? Because I have something for you.
I mean, I really don't want to end on a down note, but I really don't know if I want anything. Oh God, please tell me it's not the damn sock puppet. Please tell me.
No, but
No.
I did find the sock puppets. Dustin,
Oh,
I found them in a box.
I told Emma to throw it out.
I found the sock puppets, Dustin, so they may make an appearance. But Bethany, you never got your consolation prize for the game that you played.
I don't want the consolation prize.
The consolation prize is I have some good dad jokes for you. Now, I told y'all already when Bethany got up here that, if anybody had any good dad jokes, you can put them in there because she loves them.
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't think they're funny. I think they're stupid.
Well, I got some great ones for you. What do you call it, Bethany, when a cow grows facial hair?
What?
A mustache.
These are so bad, they're painful. That is so stupid.
Hey, Bethany.
What?
Did you hear about the two rowboats that got into an argument?
No.
It was an ordeal.
Why do people like these? Why? They're not funny. It's stupid.
So you know how I've been wanting a dog, right? And my mom had that husky.
Yeah.
I didn't get it, but actually, I did find a dog, and so I went and adopted a dog from a guy who was a blacksmith. And as soon as I brought the dog home, he made a bolt for the door.
Please tell me that's it. Please tell me that.
Nope. I got another one for you.
Does anybody find these funny? No, they don't. What?
What did the beach say when the tide came in?
What?
Long time no see.
When do you call a cow that has an abortion?
Oh yeah. You see David joke? What do you call
Yes.
a cow that's had an abortion? Decaffeinated.
Oh, gosh, guys, please.
Let's see.
Why do you guys, okay, explain to me something why men, as they get older, find these jokes freaking hilarious.
Because they are. I've always thought they were.
They're stupid.
What did one toilet say to the other?
What?
You appear to be flushed.
Oh, God.
Here's one for you, Bethany.
What?
Why are most people tired on April 1st?
Why?
They've just finished a 31-day march.
Oh, God, Dustin.
Hello, Bethany. How are you? We love you, Bethany. Oh.
That is his Art the Clown glow in the dark mask.
Thank you so much for that, Dustin. Okay, I see it. Okay, just I hate Art the Clown.
Mwah. Mwah.
I'm gonna end up having a nightmare that Art the Clown is trying to kiss me and I'm screaming, and you, Zeke, are laughing. Like, oh.
Yeah, those teeth with all the black stuff in between. Imagine how that tastes.
The smell. Actually, all I think of, to me, Art the Clown, you know he smells. No offense, not to the actor, but the character.
My fake blood came in, so tomorrow I'm going to be adding blood splatter effects to it.
Camilla has a joke, Bethany. She
Okay.
says, did you hear about the dyslexic, agnostic, insomniac? He stays awake all night wondering if there really is a dog.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good one.
These are ones that, yeah, like Art the Clown would be torturing you. That's going to be my hell. Being tortured by Art the Clown while having to listen to these god-awful jokes.
Yeah, Art the Clown torturing you with dad jokes.
Well, I've sent her a bunch of dad jokes too to keep it going.
Yeah, Dustin's are just they remind me of ones that Pennywise the Clown would tell.
Yes. So those were your consolation prize.
What are magician's favorite dogs? Labracadabradors.
Yeah. See how loved you are, Bethany?
I feel the love.
Yes.
I snuck on just to be able to show you your favorite clown art.
awesome.
And I have seriously had nightmares of Dustin's voice and those masks. And now I'm always like, I double, triple check the closet before bed. Thank you so much, Dustin.
You know, Bethany, you shouldn't say things like that because that's only going to make it worse when Dustin and I
Oh,
get
yeah. I
together.
did some pictures for her, and she kept going on. Oh, you can't get any worse. And it can oh, it got worse.
Yeah.
Oh,
The-
God, the RVs, yes.
No.
I don't know how you managed to find one worse than one that was missing a wheel, but you did.
And a bunch of clown pictures I sent her. Ooh.
Oh, God, the one with the bugs. The bugs. Ugh.
Yeah, the bugs one was funny.
It was disgusting.
I
Good.
like the one with the big centipede.
Oh, I
That's my
hate
favorite.
those. I've seen them. They're awful. I remember when I lived in Texas, I had one that came into the house.
We're going to get you a centipede farm, Bethany.
It was one of those I seriously debated burning down my own house.
And get you a centipede farm. So
I have insurance. Just burn the house down.
that was your consolation prize. And you got
Thanks. Now all I'm thinking about are those. Now I'm gonna like be creeped out and think that anything brushing against me is one of Dustin's nightmare centipede things.
it is. That's what it
No,
actually
it's not.
is.
Stop it.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Stop it. This is as bad as any time I ask you what kind of bug or rodent it is, and you always tell me the same thing. It's horrible. It's awful. It's going to burrow into your ear or into your face and lay its eggs and then burst out of you. You tell me that every time.
Yeah, the centipede's going to crawl up your nose and into your brain and just lodge there. And then you're going to start seeing weird stuff. You're going to start feeling weird, seeing things, hearing voices, all because of centipede.
Oh, God. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Ugh, ugh. Get it off. Ugh. That's awful. I hate that. No.
Look, the clown is so happy. He's just sharing his joy.
What does that say in the background? Compty? Oh, man. And I have an abandoned gas station that has flickering lights like that. So, yeah.
I can hear the light humming in my mind.
Yeah, I do too.
And then you can, like, you're in the gas station and you're just walking down the aisle. It's late at night. It's like 2 a.m. in the morning. You're in the middle of nowhere. And then you hear, and you see the little.
Okay, all right, stop.
See it fly across your feet. And you're like, oh, crap. And you jump back. And it's like hiding there under the rack waiting for you.
You did that sound too well.
Yeah. Oh, isn't she sweet? She wants to watch a movie. She's got her popcorn and her cotton candy ready. Look how happy.
She looks angry.
No, I think she looks happy.
Yeah, she looks happy. She's got the hots for you, Bethany.
She would like for you to come join her convent.
No, thanks.
Yeah. Bethany,
all right, the eyes. All right, I get the point. What?
I was laughing thinking about you as a nun.
What?
Nothing. It's funny.
Did you say none? Did you say none?
Oh, that one. Oh, man.
How about none? Just imagine, she's probably got centipedes in her car because she lives in the country.
Yeah, I guarantee you that ain't the only place she has centipedes.
Oh, man. Okay, all right. Just.
What do you think she uses to brush her teeth?
Centipede.
According to that, is human blood? I don't know. And hair?
Well, if you leave your toothbrush on the sink, you do realize that we crawl over it at night when you're sleeping, right?
No, that's not true. Is that true? That's not true.
They come up out of the drain.
Yeah, and they crawl on your toothbrush and they take a centipede dump on it.
centipedes and
You were
silverfish.
pest control. That doesn't happen.
Now here's what will happen: is the centipede will lay eggs in your toothbrush, and then you'll brush your teeth, and you'll swallow the eggs, and then they'll germinate inside of you, and then the next thing you know, they're in there, they hatch, and next thing you know, you're peeing and pooping centipedes.
Well, no, she'll be the next sequel for the human centipede.
It'll be literally.
Okay. No, I can't think about that movie. Oh God.
That's another one of Bethany's favorite movies, Human Centipede.
Oh, it's no offense. Like it's not the movie. It's that one scene. I can't. I'm gonna gag. And we're on live stream. Like I'm gonna. My eyes are watering here.
How much, or what would y'all give us if we can make Bethany gag on live stream?
Don't. Come on. It's disgusting. Come on.
Anything?
Nobody wants to hear it. See, even PW doesn't like the Human Centipede movie. Think, okay.
Well, it's Reagan. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Seriously, my eyes are watering here.
Welcome to the chat. Ooh, look at that.
That thing looks loud. It looks like it would be screaming.
A human spider.
Yeah. Oh, man.
There we go. Yeah, you had to throw a little bit in. We had to mess with her.
Yeah, PW, Human Centipede is one of Bethany's all-time
No,
favorite
it's
movies.
not. No, it's not. I can't. Seriously, I'm gonna end up gagging on live feed. Come on, it's gonna make people sick.
Well, I mean, I think it's still on Tubi if anybody wants to check it.
I don't want to see it. No.
Make it through it. Oh, Bethany, imagine if you were in the Human Centipede and you were attached to Art.
Oh, that would be funny.
Oh God. Okay, seriously, like, okay, I'm starting to get stuff in the at the base of my throat. Like, stop.
I've got it, Dustin. I've got it. We're on the verge.
Stop.
Yeah, you know what Art eats and how bad he smells. And
Stop.
You're
Seriously.
attached to him. Your lips puckered up there on his art hole.
Stop it. Seriously though, my mouth is watering here. Like, I'm feeling sick.
And then Art just lets her rip right down.
Big old blood clot.
All right.
Okay. All right. You all have a most wonderful. Oh, there's Elaine. Hey, Elaine. You all have a good night. I'm going back down in the comments.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave that up there and not that way.
No, get it off.
We'll peek around him. Hello, Art. You can't see Art.
You all have a great show, Zeke, and much love to you both.
Oh man, thanks, buddy. Hey,
You
Gypsy.
love your dad. Sweet dreams.
Thank you so much for the nightmare fuel, Dustin.
That was great. Bethany attached to Art the Clown and the Human Centipede.
Okay,
That's going to be the Human Centipede 4.
Stop. Come on. I'm going to end up gagging on live feed now. Come on.
That's it. Like, we need the people with Human Centipedes to get the right to Art the Clown.
Please. Like, no offense. It's nothing like that. It's just the movie makes me throw up.
So, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. Elaine, we are doing well. For those of you who just are hopping on, I would encourage you to go back and do the rewatch, because what we talked about tonight was really, really disturbing. and trigger warnings on there. Lots of talk about abuse, and it all was in the context of a horrible exorcism that took place in Australia. A very, very sad ending. But so that's what we talked about tonight. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. My next live stream, we're going to be in the book of Revelation. I'll be picking that back up. I don't think it'll be this Sunday. It might be, I don't know, this Sunday or next Sunday. I don't know if I can get the teaching ready in time for this Sunday. So we will see, but for sure, next Sunday, we'll be back in the book of Revelation for Immortal Shadows. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We're going to play our little inspirational video. But Bethany, I thanked our stalkers for tuning in earlier. So I'm thanking my stalkers again for watching the show. Thank you for helping our numbers. So not only thank you to everybody in the chat, but as you heard me mention earlier, I do have stalkers that are watching the show. So we want to be sure to make them feel welcome by telling them hello. And I did put up the mental health hotline number for them at the beginning of the show. So thank you, everybody in chat. Thank you, everybody who tuned in on Facebook and on YouTube, PPR channel, Yo Baby channel. Bethany, do you have anything else before we close out?
No. What do we have to look forward to for next time?
We're going to be back in Revelation. We're going to be looking at, this is where we get into some of the most misinterpreted parts of the book. We're going to be in Revelation 13, and we're going to be looking at the beast that comes out of the sea. So that is what we'll be talking about. And in the weeks to come, we'll be looking at the beast from the sea, and then we'll be looking at the false prophet, the whore of Babylon. So lots of really important stuff in the book of Revelation coming up that we will be addressing. So we still got a lot of information to trek through. We won't be ending the study of Revelation anytime soon. We will slowly make our way through it, but that's what is coming up next.
All righty.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and please stick around for this video that Dustin made, and we will see y'all next time.
Sweet dreams.
Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? Nowhere to go, so far from home. Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? So I break these walls and hold my head up high.